Darragh here. I think in the last episode I was talking to you about how there were a few cracks starting to appear in the house that Karl Marx built. Well, unfortunately, those cracks have turned into kind of glacial-style crevices or crevasses. Not exactly sure of the pronunciation. Where do we start? I suppose I should start with getting the good news out of the way first. Even though we've exhausted our IPA supplies, we have actually managed to locate a fresh water supply. Now, we use the term fresh here more as a figure of speech than anything else. It's actually a stagnant pool of water that has the colour and consistency of kombucha. It actually kind of tastes like it as well, although we've been using one of Oisín's old camping socks to kind of purify it, so that's probably the major contributing factor in that case. It's kind of like drinking our own whiz, effectively. And I mean, if it's good enough for Gandhi, then I suppose it should be good enough for us as well. There's actually quite a lot of solid material still floating in the water as well, so that might be providing us with a certain degree of nutrition, I think. I'm not exactly sure. That actually brings me to my next point, which is food. We've exhausted our lentil supply. That's probably mostly due to the fact that we've been keeping the goat and the rooster very well fed. Now, on the plus side, there's actually loads of turmeric, cumin, cloves, things like that left from the dal ingredients. So we add them to the purified stagnant pond water, and it's almost like I'm back in Goa, or kind of what I'd imagine Goa to be like. Other than that, the menu is pretty grim. We're kind of relying mostly on my sketchy at best knowledge of edible leaves and berries. I suppose it's kind of like an involuntary paleo diet of sorts, would be the best way of describing it. Most worryingly, I think, are the health issues in the camp. Now, I'll spare you the graphic description of a camp devoid of sanitation, running water, and a clean drinking water source, while the inhabitants are suffering from extreme dehydration and profuse and unyielding gastrointestinal illness. I'll kind of spare you the details of that and leave that to your imagination, but what I will say is that it's not a pretty picture. Although on the plus side, the man himself has noticed kind of vastly improved abdominal definition, and I have to say that after seeing it, I kind of agree with him. What else is there? We've all kind of begun to suffer from early signs of scurvy as well, which probably isn't ideal. Unfortunately, the bad weather has actually brought a premature end to the yurting, forcing us to move inside the farmhouse, although kind of the term inside is kind of abstract at this stage more than anything else. The rooster has taken to the loft, kind of ruling the roost, I suppose you could say appropriately enough. Still no eggs though, which is a bit worrying at this point. The goat has taken up residency in the living area. It's now kind of become sort of a no-go zone either, in spite of, or perhaps because of kind of a brave but ultimately unsuccessful reconquista. Oisín has made his living quarters in the utility room, and he's kind of got a tire rolled across the entrance to form this really cool kind of portal-style door. Sandra has been given the downstairs bathroom more for privacy and headspace than anything else, and myself and the man himself are in the kitchen. Now, these names are more kind of symbolic than anything else because all the rooms are in fact kind of devoid of any distinguishing features. Guys, I'd love to stay and chat, but unfortunately I've got to play peacemaker between Oisín and the man himself. It's been over a week now and they haven't exchanged any words between them. They've resorted to kind of even more passive-aggressive than normal remarks towards each other. Now, Sandra is giving a mindfulness workshop, which is great, but unfortunately her meds have run out. So these workshops have taken on kind of a much more aggressive, rage-filled and vengeful tone than usual. We're all agreed upon that. We're kind of attending them more out of fear than anything. Unfortunately, the goat is in one of his darker moods as well, but I think that's probably more due to the recent milking effort than anything else. Guys, peace out and stay tuned for the next installment.